Hey guys, welcome to the UF Disciple channel. Today up for review we have the relatively recently released PowerColor PCS R9 380X Myst Edition GPU. So let's get started. The PowerColor R9 380X Myst Edition is, as the 380X name would give away, a slightly more powerful card based on the R9 380's AMD Tonga architecture. For power, it is recommended that you have a 500 watt power supply with two 6-pin PCIe power connectors. In terms of I/O, you'll find a signal DVI-I, one DVI-D, an HDMI 2.0 port, and a DisplayPort 1.2 output. For technical specifications on this card, this R9 380X comes clocked in at 1020 MHz core clock and 1475 MHz memory clock on 4 GB of GDDR5 VRAM with a 256-bit memory interface. In terms of overclocking, I was able to get the core clock up to 1115 MHz and the memory clock up to 1650 MHz for a 9% core overclock and a nearly 12% memory overclock. However, it should be noted that when overclocking this card, the voltage isn't able to be adjusted. Temperature-wise, this card is well cooled with its dual 90mm fans on the front combined with its nickel-plated heat pipes. In the midst of summer here in South Africa, this card wasn't even hitting 75 degrees Celsius under load while overclocked. Speaking to more of the physical aspects of this card, the PowerColor R9 380X comes equipped with a black aluminum shroud as well as a black aluminum backplate to create a sturdy look and feel to the card. The aforementioned heat pipes stick out of the top of the card just a bit and it creates a look that I personally like. However, these heat pipes are where I have to take some serious points off for PowerColor. The heat pipe that is located closest to the power connectors is placed such that it is a huge pain to unplug the dual 6-pin PCIe power connectors. And while my hands aren't small and dainty, they certainly aren't thick and cumbersome either, and it was a serious struggle to be able to remove the power connectors when I needed to. Poor functional design choice, PowerColor. However, in a normal use case scenario, most users won't be plugging and unplugging their GPU frequently either. But overall, the aesthetics of the R9 380X are personally appealing to me, and it's a card that I would be proud to showcase with a windowed side panel on my case. But enough about the specifications, let's move on to the performance of the card. All of the following tests that were performed with the R9 380X were done with my Intel Core i7-6700K processor overclocked to 4.5 GHz with 32 GB of DDR4 2133 MHz RAM with me running Windows 8.1. So enjoy the following performance overview and I'll come back with how the card stacks up with the competition. Overall, the PowerColor R9 380X is a very capable card at 1080p, posting 60+ FPS in most modern titles with the exception of a few. It also provides relatively decent 1440p gaming stats, able to hit over 30 FPS in every game, at least while overclocked. But how does it stack up against the competition? Here are a few charts on where it slots in against the GTX 960, GTX 970, and an R9 390X, with each card being overclocked in terms of pure performance. Now here are a few charts based on the R9 380X price to performance value based on the South African rand as well as the US dollar. At 1080p in the rand, it looks like a near even toss-up between the Galax GTX 960 and the R9 380X in terms of value. However, the US dollar is a different story, with the 970 taking the best value in all but Far Cry 4. At 1440p with the South African rand, again, there's no clear winner. The Galax 960, Galax 970, and PowerColor R9 380X all win in various games. In the US dollar, it's a similar story, except the Galax 960 is not in competition. It's only a toss-up between the 970 and 380X. So what's the conclusion on the PowerColor R9 380X? Well, it's a tough call. If you want a budget 1080p card, the Galaxy GTX 960 is cheaper, but not by much. If you want the best value 1080p, it's not a clear choice in either currency. However, if you want a budget 1440p card, the 380X gives you over 30 FPS in every game that I tested, but if you want a better 1440p experience, the GTX 970 can arguably give you a better value since you'll be crossing the 60 FPS thresholds in most games. And honestly, this card is strangely positioned. It's not completely the best value in any game, but it's also not a bad choice as a card at 1080 or 1440p. Personally, I would rather spend the extra 1500 Rand or $80 for the better performance of the Galaxy GTX 970 because of future-proofing and higher thresholds at 1440p. But what do you guys think? Does the PowerColor R9 380X bring some sort of value that I just don't see that justifies its odd place in the value market? I mean, it's definitely a compelling AMD card if you're looking to be on Team Red, but I can't necessarily see its place in the overall market. And with that ambivalent conclusion, I'd like to give a big thanks to Wootware for sponsoring this video on the PowerColor R9 380X Myst Edition graphics card. Wootware is South Africa's best computer components retailer and the premier retailer in South Africa for all things PowerColor. They have a wide variety, tremendous prices, and the best customer service team I've interacted with here in SA. So if you're in South Africa, head on over to wootware.co.za and woot up your PC with a new graphics card. And that's it for my review of the PowerColor PCS R9 380X Myst Edition graphics card. Like this video if you found it helpful. Dislike it if it was more disappointing than when the US Marshals raided a one-wheeled hoverboard booth at CES a few weeks ago. Subscribe to stay up to date on all of my tech-related content, including a few more videos coming up on PowerColor cards, and a video coming up on my setup and a few transitions that I'm making with my workflow. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers!